Svaki drugi izbor bi bio kukavičluk, a to je valjda najstrašnija osobina u vremenu rata od nekog ko se smatra nacionalistom.
Balkan Serb paramilitaries seized the village of Vocin in eastern Croatia. 1,500 people lived there. When Croat soldiers retook the village, this is what they found. Bokan's men had killed 48 Croat civilians, shot them in the face and eyes, hit them with axes, or burnt them alive, and left them on display as a message to other Croats.
Važno je znati da li si izgubio ili si pobedio. Da li si heroj ili si na strani poraženih. Da li si jezikom međunarodne javnosti zločinac ili si junak. Da li si neko koga slavi tvoj narod ili neko zbog toga tvoj narod odlazi uz begove i beži sa svoje zemlje.
The terror was calculated to drive out whole populations. It was here it became known as ethnic cleansing. The Serbs were the chief perpetrators, but not the only ones. These women and children are Croats. This old man a Serb. Both were from Vukovar, but moving in opposite directions. The European community had set a goal of 3 months to settle the crisis. 2 months had passed and the violence only worsened. Now all 6 Yugoslav republics were called to talks.
Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, the Yugoslav crisis, which is the reason for convening this conference, is the result of unilateral secessionist policy, first of Slovenia, then of Croatia.
Nema osnove za sprečavanje hrvatske samostalnosti pozivom na Jugoslavenski ustav iz 1974. jer je on narušen od Srbije ukidanjem autonomije.
Postojao je lijep scenario, ministri Europske 12-torice, čuvena lica koja su sjedila pored nas, a mi smo tamo negdje 6 posvađanih pripadnika jugoslovenskih plemena, gledali se sa više ili manje mržnje.
Having heard some of the remarks made this morning, it's quite clear that there are considerable difficulties ahead.
We decided to see the people who really mattered, President Milosevic and President Tudjman, and got them round the table and started talking to them about what the future setup should be.
Pa, u tom razgovoru, kad je Milošević pokušao obnoviti tu ideju, ako su Hrvati imali pravo na samoodređenje, stvoriti samostalnu državu.
Ako je ravnopravan, šta onima drugima, to i njemu.
Onda i kninski Srbi imaju pravo na samoodređenje da se priključe Srbiji.
Ravnopravan tretman, ravnopravan status, nemogućnost da bilo ko bude diskriminisan. To su bili razlozi i naše podrške našem narodu izvan Yugoslavije i izvan Srbije.
I talked to President Milosevic and said, would you be perfectly prepared to, for example, to accept the independence of Croatia, subject, of course, to the human rights of the Serbs who live in Croatia? Would you be prepared to accept that? And he said yes. And I asked him several times, and he said yes.
Carrington set out to turn this verbal agreement into a plan for all Yugoslavia. But was Milosevic serious? Lord Carrington's bosses, the European Community foreign ministers, weren't sure.
Also sehr bald entstand der Eindruck, dass die serbische Führung war es, auf Zeitgewinn arbeiteten, um den Krieg fortsetzen zu können.
The Germans had reasons for their doubt. Milosevic's generals, unimpressed by peace plans, had just begun shelling the ancient walled city of Dubrovnik. When Milosevic returned home, they offered him a quicker way to end the war.
Mi smo napravili planove i te smo planovi trebali da ostvarimo. Da se sa 2 kolone krene prema Zagrebu. Jedna Podravskom magistralom, odnosno Podravinom, a drugi Posovinom. I mi bi za 2 dana bili u Zagrebu i Hrvatske ne bi bilo ovako kako oni to traže.
Such an open campaign carried the risk of sanctions, or worse. Milosevic called in his war cabinet, both Serbs and their allies, the Montenegrins.
Postojala je mogućnost ili da prihvatimo plan koji nam je svijet ponudio po principu uzmi ili ostavi, ili je postojala mogućnost da objavimo rat čitavom svijetu.
I vrlo smo im otvoreno rekli, ako uđemo u tako veliki sukob sa Hrvatskom, ući ćemo u rat Njemačku i Austriju i Mađarsku ili ko zna koga, a sa naše strane mi nemamo koga da vučemo u rat. Mi smo im upozorili da su nam Rusi otvoreno rekli da oni ne mogu da nas pomognu.
Milosevic made it clear the plan Lord Carrington was drawing up would allow Serbia to get what it wanted.
Sasvim je bilo jasno i ta analiza i dan danas nije izgubila svoju aktuelnost, da je odluka i opredjeljenje da se plan prihvati.
The Carrington Plan was the last proposal that tried to tackle all Yugoslavia's problems. It might have averted the bloodshed to come, not just in Croatia, but in Bosnia as well. Carrington sent his written plan to the Yugoslav presidents and summoned them back to The Hague.
Gospodin Carrington, vjerovatno se plašeći da ne bude kakvih proceduralnih zavrzlama od strane učesnika, konferencije i tako dalje, odmah je priješao na prvo poglavlje Haškog dokumenta i odmah je dao Slobodanu Miloševiću riječ.
And he raised all problems about legality, whether you could just dismember Yugoslavia, whether that was, I mean, everything that you could think of that he raised objection to, and it was quite clear that he was backpedaling.
Milosevic objected. Carrington's written plan had one seemingly minor but crucial change. Milosevic had said that Croatia could be independent because he assumed he'd get what he desperately wanted. The other republics would stay in Yugoslavia. But now, Carrington's plan said each republic must first become sovereign and independent. Milosevic understood these words. They meant he would automatically lose his hold on the remaining republics.
Pa evo reći ću vam, to što je predloženo kao haški dokument apsolutno nije mogla bude prihvatljivo.
It's very difficult really to make any judgment about why he felt so strongly about it from the arguments that he made. I mean, the arguments were not valid.
Jer su oni jednostavno tim haškim dokumentom, potezom pera ukinuli Jugoslaviju. Na to oni nisu imali pravo.
For Milosevic, the continuation of Yugoslavia was essential. He had been willing to compromise over the Serbs in Croatia, but he was determined to keep the rest of the Serbs together. In his own Republic of Serbia and its tiny ally Montenegro, and the big prize, Bosnia, with 1.5 million Serbs. If he let Bosnia go, how would he then achieve his goal of a state for all Serbs?
I went round the table after Milosevic said no and asked all the others whether they were prepared to agree.
Prvo govori predstavnik Bosne i Hercegovine, zatim Hrvatske, Makedonije.
A Yugoslavia in which all the Serbs could live was shrinking before Milosevic's eyes. One by one, the other presidents approved the plan and voted for independence. Soon, Serbia would not have another republic to stay federated with. But Milosevic was safe. If just one other republic said they still wanted to be in Yugoslavia, the state could continue. He was sure he could count on his ally, the president of Montenegro. He was wrong.
Mi smo smatrali da je to sasvim dovoljno i da pruža mogućnost da ostvarimo svoje interese i da budu jednakopravno uvaženi interesi drugih. Bilo je to odlično sredstvo da se zaustavi rat.
To je izazvalo pravi jedan šok, jedno potpuno iznenađenje. U čitavoj sali je nastao tajac. Ja mislim da je muha prolazila negdje tamo, čula bi se kako zuji. Koliko je to izazvalo iznenađenja u tom trenutku.